Welcome to the day 8 of the Krishna Katha from Krishna book, written by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. As I've already mentioned earlier, Krishna book is the gist of Canto 10 from Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam is all about the pastimes of Krishna. I'm trying to get the deities in one frame, but never mind. I'll do that later. For now, we'll start our Katha. Now, we left yesterday towards the end of chapter 2. Prabhupada tells us that it's understood that Krishna had been transferred from the mind of Vasudeva to the mind of Devaki, and from there to her womb. Thus all the demigods worship Devaki, the mother of Krishna. After thus worshipping the transcendental form of the Lord, all the demigods with Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva placed in front departed for their heavenly abodes. Chapter 3, the birth of Lord Krishna. In the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says that his appearance, birth and activities are all transcendental, and that one who understands them factually becomes immediately eligible to be transferred to the spiritual world. The Lord's appearance or birth is not like that of an ordinary man, who is forced to accept a material body according to his past deeds. The Lord's appearance is explained in second chapter. He appears out of his own sweet pleasure. When the time was mature for the appearance of Lord, the constellations became very auspicious. The astrological influence of the stars, known as Rohini, was predominant. This star is considered to be very auspicious and is under the direct supervision of Brahma. According to the astrological conclusion, besides the proper situation of auspicious and inauspicious moments due to the different situations of the different planetary systems. At the time of Krishna's birth, the planetary systems were automatically adjusted so that everything became auspicious. At that time, in all directions, east, west, south, north, everywhere, there was an atmosphere of peace and prosperity. There were auspicious stars visible in the sky and on the surface in all towns and villages and pasturing grounds and within the minds of everyone. There were signs of good fortune. The rivers were flowing full of waters, and lakes were beautifully decorated with lotus flowers. The forests were full with beautiful birds and peacocks. All the birds within the forest began to sing with sweet voices, and the peacocks began to dance along with their consorts. The wind blew very pleasantly, carrying the aroma of different flowers, and the sensation of bodily touch was very pleasing. At home, the Brahmanas, who were accustomed to offering sacrifices in the fire, found their homes very pleasant for offerings. Due to disturbances created by the demoniac kings, the sacrificial fire had been almost stopped in the houses of Brahmins, and now they could find the opportunity to start the fire peacefully. Being forbidden to offer sacrifices, the Brahmanas had been very much distressed in mind, intelligence, and activities. But just on the point of Krishna's appearance, automatically their minds became full of joy because they could hear transcendental vibrations in the sky, proclaiming the appearance of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The denizens of the Gandharva and Kinnar planets began to dance, sing, and the denizens of Siddhaloka and planets of the Charans began to offer prayers in the service of Personality of Godhead. In the heavenly planets, the angels and their wives, along with their Vidyadharas and their wives, began to dance. The great sages and the demigods, being pleased, began to shower flowers. At the seashore there was a sound of mild waves, and above the sea there were clouds in the sky which began to thunder very pleasingly. When things were adjusted like this, Lord Vishnu, who is residing within the heart of every living entity as Paramatma or the Kshirodhakshay Vishnu, appeared in the darkness of night as a supreme personality of Godhead before Devaki, who appeared as one of the demigoddesses. The appearance of Lord Vishnu at the time could be compared to the rising of the full moon over the eastern horizon. The objection may be raised that since Lord Krishna appeared on the 8th day of the waning moon, that is, when it is reducing in size, there could be no rising of the full moon. In answer to this, it may be said that Lord Krishna appeared in the dynasty which is in the hierarchy of the moon. Therefore, although the moon was incomplete on that night, because of the Lord's appearance in the dynasty, therein the moon is himself the original person. The moon was in an overjoyous condition, so by the grace of Krishna, he could appear just as a full moon. In an astronomical treatise by the name Khan Manikya, the constellations at the time of the appearance of Lord Krishna are very nicely described. It is confirmed that the child born at that auspicious moment was a supreme Brahman or the absolute truth. Vasudeva saw that the wonderful child born as a baby with 4 hands holding conch shell, club, disc and lotus flower decorated with the mark of Shrivatsa, wearing the jeweled necklace of Kaustubh stone, dressed in yellow silk, appearing dazzling like a bright blackish cloud, wearing a helmet bedecked with the Vaidurya stone, valuable bracelets, earrings and similar other ornaments all over his body, and beautified by an abundance of hair on his head. Due to the extraordinary features of the child, Vasudeva was struck with wonder. How could a newly born child be so decorated? He could therefore understand that Lord Krishna had now appeared, and he became overpowered by the occasion. Vasudeva very humbly wondered that although he was an ordinary living entity conditioned by material nature and was externally imprisoned by Kamsa, the all-pervading personality of Godhead, Vishnu or Krishna, had appeared as a child in his home, exactly in his original position. No earthly child is born with 4 hands, decorated with ornaments and nice clothing, fully equipped with all the signs of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Over and over again, Vasudeva glanced at his child, and he considered how to celebrate this auspicious moment. Generally, when a male child is born, he thought, people observe the occasion with jubilant celebrations, and in my home, although I am imprisoned, the Supreme Personality of Godhead has taken birth. How many millions and millions of times should I be prepared to observe this auspicious ceremony? When Vasudeva, who is also called Anaka Dundubi, was looking at his newborn baby, he was so happy that he wanted to give many thousands of cows in charities to the Brahmins. According to the Vedic system, whenever there is auspicious ceremony in the Kshatriya king's palace, out of joy the king gives many things in charity. Cows decorated with golden ornaments are delivered to the Brahmanas and sages. Vasudeva wanted to perform a charitable ceremony to celebrate Krishna's appearance, but because he was shackled within the walls of Kamsa's prison, this was not possible. Instead, within his mind, he gave thousands of cows to the Brahmanas. When Vasudeva was convinced that the newborn baby was the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself, he bowed down with folded hands and began to offer him prayers. At that time, Vasudeva was in the transcendental position, and he became completely free from all fear of Kamsa. The newborn baby was also flashing his effulgence within the room in which he appeared. Vasudeva then began to offer his prayers. My dear Lord, I can understand who you are. You are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the super soul of all living entities and the absolute truth. You have appeared in your own eternal form, which is directly perceived by us. I understand that because I am afraid of Kamsa, you have appeared just to deliver me from that fear. You do not belong to this material world. You are the same person who brings about the cosmic manifestation simply by glancing over material things. One may argue that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who creates the whole cosmic manifestation simply by his glance, cannot come within the womb of Devaki, the wife of Vasudeva. To eradicate this argument, Vasudeva said, "My dear Lord, it is not very wonderful thing that you have appeared within the womb of Devaki because of the creation was also made in that way. You are lying in the causal ocean as Mahavishnu, and by your breathing process, innumerable universes came into existence." So that is the Karanodakshaya Vishnu, by whose breathing process, when he exhales, everything comes into being, and when he inhales, everything goes back into the Lord himself, all the creation, all the cosmic creation. Then you entered into each of the universes as Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. Now the same Vishnu, as the Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, he enters into each universes which are created by the process of exhalation, as Karanodakshaya Vishnu. Then again, you expanded yourself as Kshirodakshaya Vishnu and entered into the hearts of living entities and entered even within the atoms. So, Bhagwan Vishnu as Paramatma resides within each of us in our heart. We also call him Paramatma. So 3 types. Karanodakshaya Vishnu, 3 forms or 3 types you can say that we can think of Vishnu as. Then there is Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, and then there is Kshirodakshaya Vishnu. Therefore, your entrance into the womb of Devaki is understandable in the same way. You appear to have entered, but you are simultaneously all-pervading. We can understand your entrance and non-entrance from the material examples. The total material energy remains intact even after being divided into 16 elements. The material body is nothing but the combination of the 5 gross elements, namely earth, water, fire, air, and ether. Whenever there is a material body, it appears that such elements are newly created, but actually the elements are always existing outside the body. Similarly, although you have appeared as a child in the womb of Devaki, you are also existing outside. You're always in your abode. But still, you can simultaneously expand yourself into millions of forms. So we'll continue our katha tomorrow again from here onwards. And I'm sorry, I was too busy adjusting the camera in the beginning and I didn't invoke the Lord loudly. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. I hope you're having a wonderful time at your homes. I presume everybody's at home at the moment. And please engage yourself in all the activities your heart lies in, because this is the golden time, in a way, when all the families are together and everybody's in touch. We wish everyone very nice ahead, and we'll see you all tomorrow. Hare Krishna.